A sneaky yet significant signing for the Phoenix Suns as they are adding point guard TyTy Washington Jr. on a two-way deal that takes care of the third and final two-way spot on the Suns roster. We're going to break down what this move means for the Suns roster and what TyTy Washington Jr. could bring to the franchise. We're going to break it all down right here on Suns Digest. My name is CJ Pierre. Thanks for joining us on this episode. We're going to get into what the TyTy Washington Jr. addition means for the Phoenix Suns and go into a little interesting tidbit on where the Suns roster stands right now. But before we get into that, we noticed that about 82% of you guys are watching our videos, and we appreciate that. But you haven't subscribed to the channel just yet. If you want to make sure you're keeping up to date with all of the latest Suns news and updates, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing that we've got working for you guys right away. I just want to apologize for the little bit kind of issue with the lighting here, technical issue, but I'm going to try and keep myself off camera as much as possible so we can just kind of get into the nitty gritty of what's going down. TyTy Washington Jr. joins the Suns on a two-way deal. The point guard who was drafted in the 2022 NBA draft is now becoming a member of the Phoenix Suns. Now, if we get into that, Adrian Wojnarowski breaking the news: free agent guard TyTy Washington Jr. has agreed on a two-way contract with the Phoenix Suns. Bradbury of Lift Sports Management tells ESPN Washington, a 2022 first round pick out of Kentucky, has played 42 NBA games with the Rockets and the Bucks. Now, TyTy Washington Jr. was kind of highly touted, one of those one and done players out of Kentucky with head coach John Calipari that he has become famous for in the college basketball ranks. But TyTy kind of having a little bit disappointing of a run in his first two seasons in the NBA. But one thing that can be talked about him, he is an Arizona kid. Went to Cesar Chavez High School in Levine, and he is familiar with this area. He, as we said, was a first round pick, 29th overall of the Memphis Grizzlies, but that pick was eventually traded to the Houston Rockets, where he spent the initial stages of his NBA career. If we take a look at where he was last year during his time with the Milwaukee Bucks, obviously not, very, very limited time, only averaging less about a point and a half per game, half an assist, half a rebound per game, shooting 33% from 3 point range. So again, this is definitely a project addition for the Phoenix Suns. Not necessarily a household name, but he can have, someone that you can look at that may have some promise and maybe someone that can help the Suns. One thing that he does have to him is he's actually a decent size point guard at standing at 6'3". He's not one of those, 6'1", 6 feet point guards. And I think he has the potential to really shine and show off some of his talent in the G League, and we will talk about it a little bit later. If we take a look at his career numbers, as we mentioned, most of his time spent with the Houston Rockets, where he did average 4.7 points per game in that one season. He also shot about 23% from three, so not necessarily the 3 point shot, not necessarily his forte. And that's kind of one thing I also want to highlight here with TyTy Washington Jr. He's not a shooter per se; he's more of a scorer, and he's kind of that combo guard as he has the ability to facilitate some. If you watched him in college a little bit, but his shooting was not necessarily his forte. His forte was speed, getting into passing lanes on the defensive side of the ball and cutting to the basket, getting to the rim, and finishing in the basket with creative layups and also getting to the free throw line. But over the course of his 2 years, with Houston and with Milwaukee and spending a lot of time in the G League, he has had some ability to develop a little bit. And that's being noted here by Ben Sig, a reporter in Milwaukee. Says after the news that TyTy Washington Jr. was going to the Phoenix Suns, he says he would have loved to keep him around on the Herd, Milwaukee's G League team, but he jumped to a better opportunity elsewhere. Ben says his improvements as a 3 point shooter, volume 3 point shots were substantial in Oshkosh and Milwaukee. If he can continue to grow shooting stability, he'll be in the NBA scene soon enough. Still very much a fan of TyTy's lead guarding ability trajectory. He says the Suns got a good developmental point guard in system, and that's kind of the idea that is kind of continuing with this regime with GM James Jones and owner Matt Ishbia is that they actually do care about the point guard position if you just take a look at the additions that were made from a team that did not have a point guard on the roster at all, and now really, except for the addition of Isaiah Thomas when he joined on that 10-day contract. But now, if you take a look at there's 4 additions, 4 guys who can play the point guard that are now on the Suns roster in some capacity. When you take a look at the addition of Monte Morris, one of the big free agent, splashed initially, and then Colin Gillespie, another guy who we'll mention later, and then you add the big fish in Tyus Jones recently on a veteran minimum deal. And now you add TyTy Washington Jr. 4 guys who are ideally point guards, fit the point guard mold, that are now in the Sun system that can have a chance to develop.
29 players wearing the Herd uniform this season as TyTy enjoyed watching these last couple of months with Malachi Smith. Joined the team in the regular season and has just gotten better and better each game. TyTy saw an opening, take it all the way himself, hard to guard.
And that's something else I kind of want to talk about right now as we take a look at where the Suns roster kind of sits right now, and we take this updated look when you take with this addition of TyTy Washington Jr. And I think that Suns fans may be a little bit surprised in terms of where the roster sits, because there's some interesting little tidbits right now that kind of surprising me that I just want to highlight here. If we take a look at the active roster, we take a look at that cap space. Now, TyTy Washington Jr. not listed here just yet, but he will be that third 2-way contract. But I did want to note that once he joins, there will be 19 players on the Suns roster. They can't have that many active players on their roster. They can only have 15 signed to the team plus 3 2-way contracts. That means someone on this roster will not remain. Now, it had been reported that it was going to be likely that after the addition of EJ Liddell that he would be waived, but that hasn't happened yet. And we've already gotten the news of the addition of Tyus Jones to the roster. So the fact that EJ Liddell wasn't waived or bought out is kind of curious to me. It's something I did want to highlight. We may actually break down a little bit more of that in a later video, but right now that there will be another roster move in some capacity, whether it's something that happens in terms of a player getting injured, we'll have to wait and see. But someone on that Suns roster that's listed there will not be there once the season begins. But kind of wanted to focus a little bit on TyTy Washington Jr. and what his addition to this roster will mean, and that we will likely see a lot of time with the Valley Suns, the Suns' new G League team. And I think that's really going to be the place where he's going to have a chance to further develop his game, further become a household name. He will be playing alongside the likes of Suns draft pick Jalen Bridges, who had showed some flashes in the Suns G League, in the Summer League, where he played alongside the other Suns rookies, Ryan Dunn and also Iguodala. Jalen Bridges was acquired by the Suns via undrafted free agency following the NBA draft, and he will probably be a big fixture in that Valley Suns team alongside TyTy Washington Jr. But TyTy will have some competition when it comes to the point guard, because he will also be there with Colin Gillespie, the first big 2-way signing contract that the Suns acquired. Colin Gillespie spent most of his time with the Denver Nuggets, did not play with the Suns Summer League team, which I was a little bit surprised by. He had shown video of him, being healthy and looking like he was going to be able to contribute and compete, but he was not on that roster, which was a little bit shocking to me. I think that's a sign that he will be a part of the G League team, and the Suns kind of already have a good feeling about him and didn't need to see him in Summer League action, but still there was a little bit curious in terms of, where everything was at.
29 players wearing the Herd uniform this season as TyTy enjoyed watching these last couple of months with Malachi Smith. Joined the team in the regular season and has just gotten better and better each game. TyTy saw an opening, take it all the way himself, hard to guard TyTy when he gets that deep. One of the other Mad Ant coaches, Coach Hankins, not happy about it either. Offensive rebound. TyTy lines up the three and knocks it down. All right, we'll trade 2 for 3.
With this Suns roster, I doubt it. I don't think that this is going to be, something that we're going to see him have a major impact in a Suns championship run. I think this is something that is just more for developmental. Get him in the system, see how he continues to develop, and then look to potentially sign him to maybe a longer term, cheaper deal heading into next season when the Suns hopefully will have a little bit more cap room flexibility. But I think the addition of TyTy Washington Jr. is a smart move by the Phoenix Suns. I think it's helpful for them to have another point guard that's going to be in the system, learning under Mike head coach Mike Budenholzer's squad, and I think he will benefit from being around guys like Devin Booker, like Kevin Durant, like Bradley Beal, like Tyus Jones, even, and really continuing to learn and hopefully, really exercise on that talent that made him a top prospect that was at Kentucky in college basketball and made him a first round pick in the NBA. All right, so we want to hear what you guys think. What do you guys think about the addition of TyTy Washington Jr. to the Phoenix Suns on a two-way contract? Let us know in the comments section below, and we'd love to hear from you guys. It's been a great one breaking this down. We're going to have much more coming throughout for you guys throughout the remainder of the time this summer as we head into training camp and into the upcoming season. If you want to make sure you're keeping up to date with all the latest Suns news and all of our content here on Suns Diet, just make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing and you can keep up with what we've got cooking for you guys. That's all the time I got for you guys today. I really appreciate you guys joining us. We love kicking it with y'all, and we're gonna keep going in as we hope the Suns make a drive to a championship season. I'll catch up with y'all next time, and go Phoenix Suns.